Okay, you sent over some really fascinating material this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these texts about the Sangadaya people near the Gujarat and Maharashtra border.
Oh, yes. Very unique stuff.
Totally unique. It looks like a style of comedy that's, well, completely their own. Focused around places like Nizar and the Tapi and Nandurbar districts.
That's the area.
So that's what we're diving into today. We've got insights from Dr. Jaswant Rathord's work and this other text we're just calling the pasted text. And the plan is to really unpack the core of this, well, this hilariously chaotic art form based on these.
Sounds good. It's definitely chaotic.
Yeah, get ready for a deep dive into what feels like a whirlwind of comedic absurdity.
That's a good way to put it. A whirlwind. Because what jumps out immediately, from these sources is how different it is.
Different how?
Well, it's not like your standard staged play. It seems much more fluid.
Probably improvised.
Seems likely, yeah. With this incredible energy, like rapid-fire dialogue, and you get the sense characters are almost like meant to talk over each other.
Right, that chaotic feeling again.
Exactly. And the humor, the sources make this really clear. It's not about clever punchlines or setup joke structures.
No. What is it then?
It's more about, well, nonsense. Sheer exaggeration, the confusion that comes out of it all. It's comedy built on delightful absurdity, really.
Like delightful absurdity, I like that. Okay, so this whirlwind, let's try and make some sense of it.
Let's try.
One of the first things in that pasted text that just jumped out was the repetition. Come, 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 come. It just goes on and on.
Yes, and what's so interesting there is how that simple phrase, just repeated again and again, it kind of takes on a life of its own, comedically speaking.
How so?
Well, the source mentions it's like a record stuck on welcome, which is quite clever, I think.
Yeah.
It stops being just an invitation. It turns into this almost hypnotic, insistent thing that becomes ridiculous just because it keeps going.
Right. It's almost aggressive in its welcoming.
Kind of. And, you see this in other folk humor, too, where just repeating something relentlessly builds up this tension or expectation, and then the humor comes from the fact that it doesn't stop.
Huh. It forces you to see the word differently.
Exactly. It shifts your perception of something totally familiar.
That constant come, come, come. It almost becomes the punchline itself just through sheer persistence. It's like hyperbole pushed to its absolute limit. This over-the-top insistence creating chaos right away.
Precisely. And it sets the stage, doesn't it? It tells the audience, okay, the normal rules, they might not apply here.
Yeah, logic is checking out.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of logic, let's talk about the bananas.
Ah, the bananas.
Yeah, the little exchange. Are you eating bananas? Yes. No, 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 no. I mean, reading it, I just thought, what? What is happening?
And isn't it interesting how something so simple becomes so disorienting?
It really is.
The pasted text calls the bananas symbols of confusion.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite insightful, actually.
Symbols of confusion.
Yeah.
Why insightful, though? It could just be random nonsense, couldn't it?
Well, maybe, but think about it. It's a very direct, simple question. Are you eating bananas? Yes or no, right?
Right.
But you get yes, followed immediately by this escalating denial. No, 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 no. It plays with our basic expectation of how answers work.
Okay, I see. The humor is in breaking that expected pattern.
Exactly. So the bananas, they're not just fruit anymore. They become the focal point for this complete breakdown in logical communication.
It's the speed of the denial, too. That
Yeah.
rapid no, no, no. It's almost ironic getting this flood of uncertainty from a yes-no question.
Precisely. And there's almost this hint, maybe, of personification, like the bananas themselves are causing the confusion somehow.
Maybe.
It just shows how these performances can take something totally mundane and just twist it into something wonderfully weird.
Wonderfully weird indeed. Okay, now, the business deal, if you can call it that.
Oh, that one, yes.
I'll give you 300 rupees. And 2.5 tons? I mean, my first reaction was 2.5 tons of what?
Exactly. And this is where you really see the satire, maybe some sarcasm coming in.
You think so?
Well, the source calls it a deal that weighs more in lunacy than logic. That sums it up pretty well, don't you think?
It really does.
You've got this very specific, okay, small, but specific amount of money, 300 rupees.
Right.
And then bam,
Yeah.
2.5 tons. Just this huge, vague, totally impractical thing. It's the mismatch, the incongruity that's funny.
Incongruity. Yeah, that's the word. It just torpedoes any idea of a sensible transaction.
Completely.
It's like they deliberately put something concrete next to something utterly abstract, almost useless. And it does make you wonder, like you said, if it's poking fun at something, those deals that sound grand but mean nothing, unrealistic promises.
That's a really good point. The pasted text does sort of hint it could be mocking shady deals and clueless entrepreneurs.
Right.
The humor is just in that massive gap between the cash and this bizarre add-on. 2.5 tons of something. The fact that we don't know what just makes it funnier.
Definitely. And then these sudden dramatic outbursts. I will burn it. Yes, I will burn it there.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah. What's powerful there, even with zero context, is just the conviction in it.
It sounds so intense.
It does. The text mentions dramatized anger, and you can almost hear that exaggerated tone, can't you?
Totally.
And repeating it, yes, I will burn it there, adds to this feeling of like determined rage, but rage about what? It has no target.
It's like this burst of pure melodrama just dropped into the middle of the chaos. The comparison in the text, Shakespeare meets stand-up. That's perfect.
Isn't it? It captures that mix the high drama, but with this underlying comedic absurdity.
All sound and fury, signifying, well, laughs, I guess.
Pretty much. And the fact that we don't know what it is, that almost makes it funnier. It's just the idea of fiery destruction totally unlinked to anything real.
Which is inherently funny. Okay, moving on then to the police. The calls for the police.
Oh, yes, you want police. Yes, you want police. Yes.
Feels like that could just loop forever. And the repetition there is absolutely key. Like the source says, you repeat police that often, and the word itself starts to, I don't know, dissolve, lose its meaning.
Yeah, it just becomes a sound.
It becomes this constant refrain, almost frantic, but it doesn't seem connected to solving whatever's actually going on.
It's like smashing the panic button again and again, whether there's a fire or not.
Exactly.
The text used that analogy, trying to fix a leak with a spoon.
That's such a great image for it.
It really is.
Yeah.
It shows how futile and funny that repeated call is. Like, whatever the problem is, just yelling police over and over isn't the answer.
Right. The joke becomes the over-reliance on this single, maybe totally wrong solution.
Okay, and then, just when you think you've got the hang of the level of absurdity, there's that line, our kids should be going to school and then they'll die, huh? It just stops you in your tracks.
It is jarring, isn't it? A real tonal shift. The pasted text calls it a jarring twist and mentions how it blends this really dark irony with a sudden bit of social commentary.
Yeah.
It's so unexpected. This serious, heavy thought just dropped into all the silliness. It creates this really bizarre kind of humor. Thought-provoking, even.
It's like the whole performance suddenly winks at the audience about something real, but in this incredibly dark, almost fatalistic way. And then you just expect it to snap right back to the nonsense. That comparison, a clown who suddenly starts reciting Shakespeare.
Perfect description.
It's totally out of left field, do you think? I mean, could that jarring shift be a deliberate thing? A way to sneak in some critique under the cover of comedy?
That's a really interesting question. It's definitely possible, right? Because it's so startling, it kind of forces you to notice it, to think about that serious point even for a second before the absurdity takes over again. Maybe those moments are there to sort of ground the chaos, connect it, however strangely, to some underlying reality, even a bleak one.
Could be. So, okay, putting all this together, the repetition, the nonsense, the bananas, the burning, the police, these sudden shifts, what's the overall feel? How would you describe the style?
Well, going back to the pasted text, those descriptions are pretty spot on. A storm in a teacup.
Yeah.
A whirlwind of who said what. The humor isn't really in the jokes themselves.
Right, no set of punchline.
No. It's in the energy, the chaos, that, what did the source call it? The punch-drunk rhythm of absurdity.
Punch-drunk rhythm of absurdity, I like that.
It's less about what's said and more about the hilariously illogical way it's all delivered and thrown together.
So it's like taking normal conversation, the back and forth we all do, and just cranking the dial way, way up, past logic, past sense, until it just becomes funny because it's so broken.
Exactly. It's pure comedic energy almost.
Like a performance of energy itself.
Yeah, a poetic parody, the text says, of everyday conversations pushed to their breaking point, finding the humor when sense just completely falls apart.
Like a weird dream sometimes, where things are funny precisely because they make no sense.
That's a good parallel, that kind of unexpected dream logic humor.
Okay, so let's recap a bit. This has been a fascinating look into this really unique Sangadaya comedy style from that border region. We've seen repetition used as this weird, hypnotic comic force.
Come.
We saw bananas become symbols of total confusion. Business deals that are just pure ridiculousness.
The 2.5 tons.
Exactly. these intense promises about burning something, the endless frantic calls for police,
Yep.
and even that sudden dark ironic bit of social commentary popping up.
A jarring moment, yeah.
And it really seems, as you said, quite specific to this particular folk tradition in this border area of India.
It does. It gives us a great window into just how differently communities can create and enjoy humor.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? You know, how different cultures use absurdity and humor, not just on stage, but maybe in everyday life too. What's the deeper meaning, maybe? The social function behind this kind of chaotic comedy?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe there's a kind of freedom in nonsense, a way to look at things differently, get a new perspective, maybe even an insightful one from all the chaos.
Definitely something to mull over.
Well, thanks for diving into this wonderfully weird world of Sangadaya comedy with me.
My pleasure. Fascinating stuff.
In their performances, they use local famous Gujarati and Marathi songs and entertain the villagers. Their skill may be rural, but it is chaotic, humorous, and deeply human. It's cheap and amazing art of dialogue and conveying social problems. Their dramatic performances are a mesmerizing window into the soul of borderland communities straddling Gujarat's Tapi district and Maharashtra's Nandurbar district. They are great examples of exotic and incredible Indian culture and its great arts.
Picture a dusty village square at twilight, where the day's labor gives way to laughter. The Sangadaya troupe arrives, perhaps a handful of men, their faces painted with exaggerated expressions, their voices ready to unleash a whirlwind. The text describes their performances as chaotic, humorous skits, likely improvised, filled with rapid exchanges, absurd dialogue, and characters talking over each other. It's a comedy of nonsense, where logic is gleefully tossed aside, and humor emerges from repetition, exaggeration, and confusion. Listen to this and experience how they are using local Gujarati humorous song to share a message regarding overuse of local alcoholic drinks and people. They warn them. They teach them. What a social service. How useful their drama is. Significant.
मुझे तुमसे प्यार का जिया बेकरार का आज भी और कल भी रहेगा आज भी और कल भी रहेगा दो साल पहले मुझे तुमसे प्यार का जिया बेकरार का आज भी और कल भी रहेगा आज भी और कल भी रहेगा
wakala dansa wala ito danso la seriyo
Ulak singa
ano wa pula sing dado to mo igilo hay
dansa mawe bupi